We're here today with Mary Brimer, and she's one of the owners of American Family Insurance and Investments, LLC. And today we're talking about Roth IRAs and important deadlines. Mary, thanks for coming back on the show. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome.
So it's the most wonderful time of the year if you're a CPA. You've had very little sleep and you're just trying to make it through a couple more weeks. And I have to say, as a financial planner, it gets a little exhausting for us too, because typically the filers who wait until the last 2 weeks of filing season to do their taxes are those that are in an O position. Usually the procrastination is because they're going to have to write a check. And there are a few ways to mitigate writing that check or how much you might have to write. So I wanted to talk about the impending deadlines that are coming up on us here in just a few weeks. Today is April 3rd. We have 15 days left until we have to file if we are in Rhode Island. The reason why typically the federal deadline is April 15th, except there's Emancipation Day on Friday, April 15th. So we have until Monday, 3 extra days to procrastinate to put a postage stamp on either your return or your extension and get it in the mail. Except if you live in Massachusetts or Maine, they have what is called Patriot Day. So if you are in Massachusetts, our near neighbor, you have until Tuesday the 19th to file your taxes for the year 2015 or to file an extension.
So that's a few extra days you can go down to.
A few extra days for those of us who already,
You could go to Foxwoods.
We're quite comfortable in procrastination, yes.
Or you can go bet it all on red and maybe...
And hope for the best. It could be a great retirement strategy.
Yeah,
not so much.
Actually, the gentleman who started FedEx, when they first started out, there was a point where he couldn't even pay his employees. They thought they were going to close the doors. And I don't believe in gambling, by the way, but he went down to the casino and he bet it all because he was short and he won it. And he kept FedEx's doors open. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think he was a gambler either, but that was a boss move to make.
I think boss move. I think that was a divine intervention, maybe.
Probably.
I would not recommend that for our listeners by any means. So let me preface this conversation by saying I am not a tax advisor. However, there's a couple of deadlines or filing tips that you might want to take note of. First of all, if you are eligible to participate in the Roth IRA, a Roth IRA is an IRA that you can put money into annually. You are not eligible to tax deduct that, and you are only eligible to contribute if you are married, filing jointly, and making combined less than $183,000 per year. If you are single or head of household, you have to make less than $116,000 a year. The amount that you can put into a Roth IRA for calendar year 2015 is $5,500 if you're under age 50, and it's $6,500 if you're over the age of 50. And the reason why the IRS allows you to put away a little extra money for yourself, they call it a catch-up contribution, thinking, maybe if you made a couple of mistakes before, you're able to make up for it a little bit after age 50. Now, the next kind of IRA is just a traditional IRA. Same rules. If you're under age 50, you can put in $5,500. If you're over age 50 with a catch-up contribution, your maximum is $6,500. However, there's been changes in the tax code where you're not necessarily eligible to deduct the entire contribution. If you're covered by a retirement plan at work, a 401k, a 403b, a 457, a simple IRA, etc., you have to be filing single, having a modified adjusted gross income of less than $61,000, or if you're married joint, combined less than $98,000, if you would like to deduct the entire contribution to your IRAs.
Okay.
So it's very important to know if you are doing a traditional IRA contribution, you're eligible to take that off of your adjusted gross income. Or take it as a deduction on your return, and it can help your filing status. It could reduce the amount of money that you need to pay Uncle Sam. You can put it away for yourself, and you need to discuss that with your CPA, how much you're actually eligible to donate.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry, to contribute and deduct.
Okay.
The last type of IRA that I'll mention is a SEP IRA, which stands for self-employed people or persons, and they are eligible to contribute up to 25% of their net earnings for a maximum of $53,000 per year. That is for calendar year 2015 and 2016. Usually these are the folks that are calling in last minute, close to the deadline, saying their CPA said they could put in whatever, $23,000. Your CPA will tell you how much exactly to the penny that you're eligible to contribute, and then you need to call your financial advisor to get that check going. Now, there's a couple of things with regard to this, or respect to the deadline. The IRS has its own deadline, but investment companies also have deadlines. If you want your contribution to be deducted on last calendar year, 2015, the IRS allows you to make these contributions right up until the filing deadline, in this case, April 18th. But the investment company needs to receive your check so that they're able to count it and report it, because they need to report your contribution to the IRS for the year you contributed.
So basically, if somebody, had a large amount of income last year and they want to basically deduct
reduce what they're going to pay tax on,
they should contact you today.
They should be talking to me and their CPA as quickly as possible, or call me and I'll reach out to your CPA and we'll get an idea of what you can put in, because there's still mailing time. My favorites are always the self-employed persons that are calling me on the day of or the day before saying, come get a check. And I still have to send that in. And it takes a number of days from your broker to receive your check for it to be received ultimately where it's going. And there is a cutoff, and each investment company is different. So I'm not going to sit there and say April 29th is the last day it's received, but there's certainly postmark requirements on that.
You can't wire?
No, you cannot wire. Nope, because when your broker, when your independent broker receives your check, it gets forwarded into their broker-dealer for compliance and suitability review, and then the broker-dealer will overnight it to an investment company. So there's a number of days in between to be aware of. And lastly, I'll say, when you wait until the last minute, for folks that are in these last 2 weeks of the year, typically in an O position, they sometimes need to come to their broker to get some money out to pay the tax bill, because once you go over April 18th, you start paying interest and penalties on not having the money in. And typically, in most scenarios, it takes a good 3 business days to get a check, even by wiring from your investment account to your checking account. And I know personally in the state of Rhode Island, I'm one of the people that owes. I send in my last 3 years I've sent checks. It has cleared the same day that they opened the envelope with the check in it. They are depositing from their desk. That is how quickly they're taking the money. So there is no such thing as dropping a check in the mail and hoping to cover it, floating a check for a few days. That's not what's going on anymore. It is desktop deposit, real time.
So Mary, 401-295 1005. That's the correct number to reach you, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Now, that's your direct line. Again, if you have questions, this is a very, very important subject, obviously, because who wants to pay more taxes than you really have to? Mary knows the ins and outs. She has her Series 6 license, her Series 7 license. She understands the markets, not only in real estate as a real estate investor, but also all of the other markets, the stock market, your mutual funds, your retirement accounts, all of those. You're going to contact Mary, 401-295 1005. And right now, too, is a great time for a checkup, okay? Because if you've already filed your taxes, you might want to contact Mary and just say, look, this is where we were. You have all of your documents in place already in front of you. You're organized, right? And right now is pretty much the start of a new financial year.
We're wrapping up the first quarter, and companies are going to start announcing their profits and losses, and that has an effect on the market itself. So now is an excellent time to reach out to me, to somebody else, your current advisor, and sit down and take a look at how you're allocated and decide if you want to make some changes before the reporting starts coming out. And I will say this: if you found yourself in a situation where you over-contributed to your IRA, we can do what's called a recharacterization of that contribution. So we can call in and tell the tax department in the investment company whatever that overage amount was to recharacterize it for the next calendar year. But it's very important to be aware of these deadlines, because if you miss the deadline, the investment company will count it for 2016. Your 2015 contribution or tax return will be incorrect. It will more than likely put you into an audit situation. So you want to be ahead of these deadlines and make sure that they're received and calculated appropriately so you don't get a bigger surprise later.
Perfect. Some great advice. Mary Brimer, American Family Insurance and Investments, LLC. She is the financial planner of choice here in Rhode Island and our most recommended here on the DiSpirito team and in our Roundtable Network.